I'm continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. Right now, I am in Joshua, and this is chapter 11. Joshua and Israel conquer whole land, destroying many cities and nations. So, in the last chapter, we had Joshua doing the southern campaign, conquering everything south of Jericho. So, this looks to be the northern campaign. Let's see what we got. And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Akshaph, and to the kings that were on the north of the mountains, and of the plains south of Kinneroth, and in the valley, and in the borders of Dor on the west, and to the Canaanite on the east, and on the west, and to the Amorite, and to the Hittite, and to the Perizzite, and to the Jebusite in the mountains, and to the Hivite under Hermon in the land of Mizpah. And they went out, they and all their hosts with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude, with horses and chariots, very many. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. How many kings is this? Jabin, Jobab, king of Shimron, king of Akshaph. You can't really say. Just says all these people. Now, of course, we do know the Gibeonites. They were Hivite people. The people of Gibeon were of the Hivite peoples. So clearly each people had multiple kings. There were 5 kings of the Amorites. We still have more kings of the Amorites. So the nations, what they call the 7 nations, weren't what we consider nations today. It wasn't like the United States. These were racial groups. This would be like the Irish, the French, even though the French is a nation, but you have the French people, or you have the Belgian people who still speak French. And so that's what nation in this case, nation means all those descended from this family. Anyways, let us continue. Verse 6. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time will I deliver them up all slain before Israel. Thou shalt hew their horses and burn their chariots with fire. So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom, suddenly, and they fell upon them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them, and chased them unto great Zidon, and unto Misrephoth Maim, and unto the valley of Mizpah eastward. And they smote them until they left them none remaining. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord bade him. He hewed their horses and burnt their chariots with fire. To hew the horses means to hawk the horse. It's cut the hamstrings so the horse can't run. But this is the second time that an army has marched out. In the Eastern campaign, we had a couple armies come out to try and fight Israel and then get destroyed. In the Southern campaign, there was the 5 kings of the Amorites marched out, and Israel took them by surprise and took them unawares, wiped them out, and then proceeded to conquer the rest of the southern lands. Now we have the people in the north are forming an even bigger army. Man, they only had 5 kings before. Now we got many kings. They don't even list how many. There's so many. So all these guys send out huge armies as the sands of the sea. And God says, oh, don't worry about it. You go ahead. We'll kill them. And so Joshua, once again, takes them suddenly, not by surprise, not an ambush, but again, forced march through the night, takes them unawares when they're not expecting it, and absolutely decimates them, destroys them completely to a man. Verse 10. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor, and smote the king thereof with the sword, for Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms. And they smote all the souls that were within with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burnt Hazor with fire. And all the cities of those kings, and all the kings of them, did Joshua take and smote them with the edge of the sword, and he utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord commanded. But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them, save Hazor only. That did Joshua burn. And all the spoil of these cities and the cattle the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them. Neither left they any to breathe. So they destroyed all the people, but they took the spoils of the cities. And the only city that was actually destroyed was the city of Hazor, which was burnt to the ground. The rest of them, they killed the people, took the cities, took the spoils. Now, it does say Hazor was the head king. He was the leader of all these kings. So this is kind of a confederacy of kings. You have each city had its own king, but then they pledged their service to the head king, the high king. This is the same kind of feudal system that we see later on in Europe in the Middle Ages, where local lords have their own armies, but they pledge fealty to a higher lord and provide military support for him when he needs it, which it seems to be how Hazor is the one that started this. Said, we got to get all together and fight against Israel. They were all kind of vassal states to Hazor, so they all sent their armies. But they were all destroyed. So, verse 15. As the Lord commanded Moses his servant, so did Moses command Joshua, and so did Joshua. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the hills and the south country, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley and the plain, and the mountain of Israel, and the valley of the same, even from the Mount Halak, that goeth up to Seir, even unto Baal-gad, in the valley of Lebanon, under Mount Hermon. And all their kings he took, and smote them, and slew them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All other they took in battle, for it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them as the Lord commanded Moses. And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from Anab, and from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. So Joshua took the whole land, according to all that the Lord said unto Moses. And Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel, according to their divisions, by their tribes, and the land rested from war. So he destroyed them all. He conquered the land. The Anakims, again, these are the giants. I believe Goliath was an Anakim. There are a couple of races of giants. They're not all one race. There were several giant races on the east side. Og, king of Bashan, was a giant. But Joshua conquered all the land that he was told to conquer, and he drove out even the giants. Now, the Anakim still remained in these coastal cities, Gaza, Ashdod, Gath. These are the cities that would become the Philistines. And this is where Goliath is from. He's from Gath. So, but all the land of Israel, Joshua conquered. Now, there was one thing I forgot to mention, is that there is a Joseph Smith translation in this chapter. So now to reiterate once again, the Joseph Smith translation is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible done by Joseph Smith in order to restore portions or correct portions of the Bible that had been changed or lost over the years. Joshua contains one such correction, meaning that most of Joshua is translated correctly. There's no error there. We have one correction. That is in verse 20 of chapter 11. So in the King James Version, let us reread this. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them as the Lord commanded Moses. So once again, just like with Pharaoh, and just like with Og of Bashan and all that, we have these repeated statements that God hardened their hearts so that he could destroy them. In all the previous examples, Joseph Smith corrected this to put the blame on them, give them the credit for hardening their hearts. So here is the Joseph Smith translation for this verse. For it was done of the Lord to destroy them utterly, because they hardened their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that they might have no favor, that they might destroy them in battle, as the Lord commanded Moses. So God's purpose in destroying them was motivated because they chose to harden their hearts. It was not God hardening their hearts. They did it. Therefore, God ordered their destruction. Once again, Joseph Smith takes this, says, no, God does not cause people to sin. God does not cause people to have hard hearts. That is our personal choice. We are responsible for our own actions, not God. Very important thing. But we will leave that here, and I will see you in the next one.